Hi guys, it's Ksenia. Welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you guys your picks of the top 10 worst perfumes according to you. If you do not follow me already on Instagram, then I would suggest that you do so because I do these polls ever so often. I did one with the most complimented perfumes a while back, and that video is literally like, I think my most viewed video on my channel. I think right now is almost at 200,000 views. This video right here. So clearly you guys like that video. So if you want to be included in more videos like that, kind of ones where I ask for your opinion, go ahead and follow my Instagram and you can possibly participate in the next one of these. But a while back, I asked you guys on Instagram, what are the worst smelling perfumes according to you guys? And you did not disappoint. Now, quick disclaimer, I feel like I don't even have to make this, but we're on the internet, so I kind of have to. If you like or even love any of these perfumes, if these perfumes are like your signature perfumes and maybe you even get compliments on these and literally like it's like the best perfume to you, do not be offended. We all have opinions. A perfume that I love, you could absolutely hate and vice versa. So this is just meant to be like a fun and lighthearted video. And if anything, I just think it's really interesting. I personally own 7 of the perfumes that are on this list. So, I mean, obviously, I even love a lot of the perfumes that apparently some of you guys hate. So I'm gonna go from the kind of least hated, or at least the ones where I got the least amount of votes on, down to the last perfume. And that perfume literally received over 50 of you guys that said that you hated that specific perfume. So stay tuned to the end of this video to find out which perfume that is. But anyways, before we get into this video, please make sure that you're subscribed to my channel and turn your post notifications on, and let's get started. Okay, so like I said, this will be a top 10 list, but there was some that tied for top 10. So for top 10, I literally had 6 perfumes that all tied for 10th place. And what that means is basically I got at least more than one person that said that they hated this specific perfume. So starting at 10th place, let's start in no particular order, at least for 10th place. Coco Mademoiselle by Chanel. This came to no surprise. A lot of these were kind of no surprise for me because a lot of them are perfumes that are very polarizing in the sense that it's not that they all necessarily smell bad, but they're perfumes that you either love or you either hate, and I feel like that's where this perfume falls into. Now, Coco Mademoiselle, if you are a regular viewer of my channel, you know I've talked about this a lot in the past. Not because I necessarily love it, but because I'm kind of attached to this perfume. This used to be like my mom's signature scent for years, and so every time I smell it, it literally just, it reminds me of my mom. So I love to keep it around in my collection for that reason. I'm gonna be completely honest, have not used it. Like, I've barely even scraped at the top because I have such a large perfume collection that I'd rather use ones that I love rather than one that I don't love. But anyways, I can see why there was at least more than one people that said that they didn't like this, because this is a little bit more of a mature scent, and there's also really strong patchouli in here, and patchouli is extremely polarizing. You either love patchouli or you hate it. So that's 10th place. And then also in 10th place is a perfume I do not own, and that is La Vie est Belle. Also another one that did not surprise me at all. So La Vie est Belle, I've never thought that it smelled bad, and I mean, I can't really speak for the people that listed La Vie est Belle as a perfume that they hate, but I feel like a reason why a lot of people don't like La Vie est Belle is just because it's a very, and again, I don't mean this to insult anybody, but it's a very lackluster scent, in my opinion. Like, there's so many perfumes that have come out since that scent that beat it by a lot, and so La Vie est Belle for me just falls short on a lot of things. It's basically just like a really generic sweet scent. It just doesn't have that much character to it, and that's just my opinion. I personally agree with it being on this list. And then next up, also in 10th place, was this guy. This is La Nuit Tresor, also by Lancome. So we got 2 Lancome fragrances on this list back to back. This one, in my opinion, I definitely see why people don't like it. I personally love it, but I think the reason why people don't is because this is easily a headache inducer. It's a very strong, thick, all-enveloping, dense, sugary, syrupy kind of scent. It's very thick and syrupy, and so This is definitely not for the faint of heart. I feel like a person that likes more fresh scents could literally throw up when they smell this. And it's funny because when I bought this scent, I was with my mom and she smelled it and she literally had to like walk away from me because she was repulsed. I see why it's on this list. It's not for everybody. It's a stronger scent. If you're not into stronger scents, definitely don't get this one. But I will say, it's a really, really sexy scent. And although it's on this list, I get millions of compliments on this. So yeah. All right, this next perfume hurt my heart. But again, I understand. I understand why some people don't like this scent. Again, I feel like this scent is kind of split of people that really, really love this and people that don't. I feel like the list of people that really, really love this is a little bit bigger. But then the list of people that don't love this, like they literally hate it to its core. And that is Baccarat Rouge. So I'm sure we all know about this scent. Maybe you've smelled it, maybe you've had a dupe of it. There's millions of perfumes that have come out that smell literally identical to this. Take Cloud, for example. So I guess that could kind of be considered on this list in a way, which is crazy. And that just goes to show how subjective perfumes are, because if you saw my most complimented perfumes list, Cloud was the #1 most complimented on that list. And so for Baccarat being such a similar scent profile to Cloud, and then this falling into this like worst perfumes list, that just kind of goes to show. Anyways, yeah, I love this. I really love it. It's a really, really specific, distinct smell. It's really hard to explain. It is sweet overall, but there's something about it that you've never smelled in any other perfume ever. And so that's why there's a huge, huge love for this. But again, I feel like this one is also a huge compliment getter. But at the same time, you'll also come across people that absolutely are repulsed by this scent. So you can't always win. The next perfume in 10th place is Giorgio Armani My Way. I actually don't own My Way. I have smelled it. I do think it's very similar to Givenchy L'Interdit, which I do have in my collection. And I've always spoken really highly of that perfume and I really, really enjoy that. But again, I can see why My Way and even Givenchy L'Interdit could be kind of polarizing scents, just because they're very heavy on the white florals. Like you get orange blossom, tuberose, Indian jasmine, and then you also get like this thick musky scent. I can't really describe it. But again, both of those fragrances are also fragrances that get a lot of compliments. So this video literally doesn't make any sense. It really just depends on whoever you come across. They'll either love or hate how you smell. And then the very last perfume tied for 10th place is Tobacco Vanille by Tom Ford. I was honestly expecting a lot of Tom Ford perfumes to be on this list because Tom Ford fragrances are extremely unique and very much out there fragrances. A lot of them are really strong. A lot of them are just unique, very much one of a kind. And when it comes to fragrances like that, it's inevitable that people are going to either love it or hate it because there's such strong polarizing scents with really, really distinct specific notes. And Tobacco Vanille is definitely one of the Tom Ford fragrances that I have smelled that I can definitely feel like it would be a really, really polarizing one. And I think it's honestly because of that tobacco. Obviously vanilla is a scent that a lot of people really, really enjoy, so I don't see why anybody can hate it because of the vanilla. But the tobacco is a little bit strong in it. Like it does smell, at least when I've sprayed it on my skin, it gives me like this really, really heavy, leathery, almost smoky note on my skin, and I just do not like that scent. It does not do well with me. Some people wear it and they literally smell incredible. I don't know where I heard this, but I heard that Harry Styles wears Tobacco Vanille. I don't know how true that is, but I feel like, I don't know if it was a TikTok that I saw or something. That's neither here or there. Yeah, Tobacco Vanille was on this list. It was a little bit lower on this list, so there wasn't a ton of people that said it, but it's still on this list. So moving down the line in 9th place, this means that it got at least 2 or 3 people that said that they didn't like this. Marc Jacobs Perfect. So I don't own the full bottle of it, but I do own a little tester. And with this scent, I feel like it's not on this list specifically because it smells bad. I mean, again, I can't speak for the people that put this on this list, but I feel like with this scent, at least to me, there's nothing where I'm like, oh my god, that smells disgusting, because it's generally a nice smelling perfume, but I feel like it falls into that very generic kind of perfume category where you smell it and you're like, okay, that could be Marc Jacobs Perfect, but it could also be like 700 other perfumes. It's kind of just a generic fresh scent. Now, don't get me wrong, I actually really like the way that this smells. Oh, that actually smells really good. I guess a note that could maybe throw off some people is the rhubarb, because that is kind of a distinct note. And I feel like rhubarb is a little bit bitter and it kind of gives us like a little green aspect to it. But then you throw in the almond milk and it just kind of makes for a really weird concoction, because it's like fresh and kind of earthy and green, but then it's like milky and creamy because of the almond milk. It's a little bit of a weird mixture. I do feel like when I smell it, I smell like a green freshness overall, and this actually reminds me a lot. It's almost like an identical spot on dupe to Aura by Thierry Mugler, the one in the green bottle, the EDT version, because Aura also has rhubarb in it, and when I smell this, that's the very first scent that comes to mind. Like, I literally think they could be identical perfumes. And I know that Aura is also another like polarizing scent. Aura was not on this list, but considering the fact that a lot of people don't like Aura because of how unique and earthy and green it is, I could see why this also kind of made it on this list. In 8th place, this is another Tom Ford fragrance, and that is Black Orchid. I cannot speak much about this perfume because I don't think I've ever smelled it. I might have at a department store, but it didn't really stick out to me where I kind of like remember what it smelled like. I just don't remember it at all. So I'm not really gonna talk about the way that it smells and why I think that it made it to this list. My guess is that it's a Tom Ford fragrance and it's a very strong polarizing scent. Looking at the notes, there's a lot of notes happening in it, like a lot. There's a lot of florals, there's truffle, white florals, fruity notes, then you get chocolate, patchouli, vanilla, incense. Literally, it's just a whole mix up of a lot of things. And I have heard that Black Orchid is like a very beast mode type of fragrance, and it just like fills up a room. And those types of perfumes tend to be perfumes that not everybody loves, because a lot of people are actually really sensitive to perfumes. So when you have a perfume that literally fills up the room, it can kind of be hit or miss. In 7th place, Dolce & Gabbana Light Blue. I don't know what it is about this perfume specifically that makes a good amount of people not like it, but I have heard a lot of people that don't like this scent. Maybe if I could guess a reason, it would probably be because this is kind of a bit of like a masculine scent. It definitely gives me strong unisex vibes, and I think that's just because it's so fresh and clean and like very crisp and citrusy and almost like juicy citrusy. I don't know, maybe that's what puts people off, but I have heard a good amount of people, not just from this list, but a good amount of people have told me that they don't like this scent. I personally really like it. It's definitely a summer fragrance just because of how citrusy and crisp and clean and fresh, and like it's like a burst of citrus fruits, but it also has this perfumey muskiness about it, almost even like a cologne touch. So if you don't like unisex scents, probably wouldn't like this one, but it is in 7th place of this list. In 6th place, this perfume definitely hurts my heart to show it, and for it to be in 6th place, like kind of high up on this list, literally meaning that at least more than 10 people said that they didn't like this. But at the same time, I totally understand, because this perfume, I've always known that a lot of people do not like this scent. But it's one of my favorites, and it's still one of my favorites. Like, I don't care if people don't like it. You wear perfumes for you and nobody else. Thierry Mugler Alien, of course. I knew this perfume was gonna be on this list before I even made that poll go live. I just knew somebody was gonna say, and it turned out to be a lot more than just somebody. The reason why is because this is a really strong, really polarizing scent. Even though there's not much happening, at least that is listed in here. Literally on Fragrantica, this is only listed to have jasmine, amber, and woodsy notes. 3 notes, that's it. But it literally smells like it's like a concoction of a million things. I do think the jasmine is very strong in here, so maybe if you don't like jasmine, you probably wouldn't like this. But it's a really unique scent, and honestly, to me, this is one of like the sexiest perfumes ever. Some will say otherwise. I love this, and I don't care what anybody says. Okay, me being defensive, even though I just said in the beginning of this video to not get offended, but like, I'm a little offended. Next up in 5th place, so we're halfway done to this video. Well, in 5th place, Black Opium. Again, I don't think that this made it to this list because people think that it smells bad, because this smells really sexy to me. It's a sweet, kind of coffee, praline, kind of dark and mysterious, intoxicating femme fatale type of a fragrance, so it's really good. But it's very much overdone. It still smells so good though. It's actually been a minute since I smelled this. And I'm like, wow, like this smells so hot. Like it's a hot fragrance. Oh my gosh. I'm like getting whiffs of it as it's kind of like around me right now. And it smells so freaking good. This fragrance, I feel like, you know, maybe made it to this list just because it's overdone. There's a lot of perfumes that have come out by now, especially that smell very similar to it. I think when this first came out, it was kind of one of the first perfumes of its kind, but ever since then there's a lot more perfumes that have come out that smell like this, or that smell a lot better than this, but that kind of have like a resemblance to this. So I just feel like there's a lot better things out there, but this is a really good one, and I still wear this. I actually mix this perfume because it goes with a lot of other more sweeter perfumes really well, so it's a nice mixing scent. I personally have nothing bad to say about it. I think it smells really sexy. It's a very big compliment getter. So yeah, I don't have much more to say other than that. In fourth place, this perfume, not shocked at all to see on this list. The only reason why I'm shocked to see this is because I feel like all these other perfumes that I just talked about are a little bit more, I guess, mainstream. This one is a bit of an older fragrance that has been out for a while, so it definitely like stands out in this list. And that perfume is White Diamonds by Elizabeth Taylor. When you go on Fragrantica, the comments are hilarious because people get really creative with some of these descriptions. Let me just say that. I will read one that kind of sums it up. This person literally said, conservative church lady. That was her description. And then somebody else says, absolutely the worst perfume I ever smelled. Somebody else said, revolting. And then in between, you do get a few people that say that they love how this smells. The reason why I think this gets so much hate is just because it's a very old school fragrance. It's an extremely mature fragrance, and it kind of has that old lady scent. I don't ever mean to be rude or insulting by saying that, like when people call perfumes like grandma vibes, because every time I've used that term, which I've stopped using that term a long time ago, okay? If you go to like some of my very first perfume videos, you might hear me saying that term once or twice, but I've stopped saying that term, like old lady perfume or grandma perfume. But this is definitely a grandma perfume. It's what you think your grandma smells like. It's like your grandma's wardrobe that she's had since like 1942. If you like that, all power to you. I do not care how old you are. You can wear any perfume that you want at any age. I'm just letting you know. And a lot of these other people, the reason why a lot of people don't like it is because it's a really mature scent. If you love mature scents, go for it. Number 3 on this list, so pretty high up, Pink Sugar by Aquolina. A lot of people love this perfume. A lot of people say it gets them a million compliments. Men specifically really love this. If you don't love sweet, sugary scents, yeah, that would definitely be a reason why it would be on this list. This is straight up cotton candy, like burnt cotton candy. It has like this burnt sugar note in it, and then it also is mixed with like this licoricey vibe, and I know a lot of people also don't love licorice, so the mixture of all of that. And then obviously if you don't love extremely sweet scents and you don't love to smell like literal sugar, then I definitely see why you wouldn't like this. But for those of you that do like sweet scents, this is a nice one. Like you literally will straight up smell like walking cotton candy. Not the most groundbreaking scent, but in my opinion it's a good one, and it's a good layering one too. If you want to like sweeten out any other perfume, you could use it for that. Down to the last 2 perfumes on this list. So coming in at number 2, Angel by Thierry Mugler. I saw this one coming from a mile away. I'm sure a lot of you guys would. I feel like if I ask my subscribers like what is your most hated perfume, like literally on this video, a ton of you guys will say Angel, because Angel is one of the most polarizing scents. It's a very distinct, very specific scent. Tons of patchouli. It's basically like all patchouli, to be honest. I will say though, weirdly enough, me being somebody that doesn't love patchouli like all the time, I sometimes, and I don't have it in my collection, but sometimes I smell that fragrance and I actually like it. Like I don't think it's a bad fragrance. It's a very specific fragrance and it's very strong. I feel like if you spray more than, honestly, like 1 spray of that perfume, you will knock somebody out. It's a very strong scent. You do not need much. A little will go a long way. If you look at the notes of Angel, it's literally like a Harry Potter series of notes. Any note that you can think of, it's in Angel. Again, it's a lot. It smells like a lot. If you're not into strong fragrances, if you're not into extremely unique fragrances, if you're not into patchouli, probably not one that you will love. And then now for the number one perfume. This got literally more than 50 people that said this perfume, and that is Chanel number 5. This perfume, again, I see why it's a lot of people's not favorite perfumes, and it's kind of the same exact thing of what I said about white diamonds. Chanel number 5, and to be honest, a lot of Chanel perfumes, they're very, very classic perfumes. They're very classy. I feel like for the majority of them, they're extremely, extremely mature. So if you're into those fragrances, then you would love that. But if you don't like really white florally fragrances with a lot of patchouli and just like this really, really mature, classy sort of scent to your perfumes, then you would probably not like Chanel number 5. Literally somebody on Fragrantica explains this by saying, imagine you walk into an old house that has been damp and abandoned for years. That's how I could describe this perfume. Not my words, their words. A lot of the comments tend to be along the same realm, just people saying that it's a really, really mature fragrance. So that is why it made it to the number 1 list. There was an overwhelming amount of people that said that they do not like this fragrance. I am curious to know though, let me know if you love Chanel number 5. Like, I just want to know. Let me know in the comments. That is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed this video. Hopefully it wasn't too controversial for you. Again, this is meant to be a lighthearted, fun video. Like, I liked half of the perfumes on this list, so I don't really care what perfumes people don't like. If I like something, I will wear it regardless. So I hope you guys have the same attitude. Let me know what is your like number 1 most hated perfume of all time. Leave that in the comments. But that is it for me today. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!